Well, somewhere else from Black Women TV, talking to the lovely Marianne Jean-Baptiste. Want to say congrats on the accolades you've received so far for your performance in Hard Truths. Now, we all have read that, like, okay, this is the reunion. You and Mike Leigh, you worked back in the 90s. How much time had gone by before he pitched you this project?
Oh God, 2020. We did it 29 years ago. So, I mean, we've been talking over the years. I think he's been sort of like doing a temperature check
Okay.
because I moved to LA, obviously. And, we've just kept in touch. How are you? What are you up to? Are you enjoying it? Da da da, that type of conversation. But the real conversation only started to take place in 2018, where he sort of said, I'm doing a film. I want you to be in it. Obviously, you know the score. There's no script. You won't know what you'll be doing in it and all that. But say yes, please. And of course, I said yes. And then the pandemic hit. So it was like, oh, we put it on hold. So,
You came
yeah,
back, but not only is it a reunion between you and Mike, but it's also a reunion between you and Michele
yeah,
and Nick, the cinematographer who passed away. So
yeah.
what's that feeling like when you come back and not only Mike, but you have some familiar people around you?
Well, it's like going home. It's like, it's where I started. I mean, it's really my main. Secrets and Lies was the first sort of real feature film that I ever did. So working again with Dick Pope, who I'd seen over the years, because I quite often be in London for when Mike had a new film come out. So we saw each other at the Turner screening and stuff. But just working with him again was just a reminder of how much Dick Pope actually taught me about being on set and um, you know, first time working closely with a DP, a cinematographer. I remember him staring at me when I was doing Secrets and Lies, thinking, why does this guy keep staring at me like that? And he was, and then he come over and he sort of said, oh, you feel that warmth on your face? That's the light. You need to sort of like lean over that way a bit. And then Mike Leigh, overheard and sort of said, it's preposterous to ask a an actor in character to move into the light. You can't do that. And Dick sort of rolled his eyes and winked at me, and I like nudged over so that Mike couldn't see. But it was that sort of, introduction to being on set, to thinking, to being conscious of the light and all that sort of stuff that I picked up from Dick.
Mhm.
So yeah, I feel really, really fortunate that I got to work with him before he passed away. And Michele Austin and myself are good friends. So to be able to work with her was just a gift.
Mhm. Here
Yeah.
you are playing Pansy, and we're looking at this lady, and I think everybody's somewhat knows. You'd like to think everybody knows someone of that character in their lives,
Mm.
whether it be a mom or your aunt or a neighbor or somebody you see, and you're like, okay, there's something. What makes Pansy the person she is that we're seeing on screen? You know,
Oh gosh, there are so many things that make her like that. She's afraid. She's afraid to go outside. She's afraid of people. She's afraid that she might be attacked, so she attacks first. She's in a lot of pain, but she can't identify it.
Mhm.
She knows that she's not at peace, and so it leads to anxiety. Um, this is like somebody who has a lot of things that are going on that are wrong, but just doesn't know how to identify them, that doesn't know that they can actually get help, that they can feel better, that it's possible to feel better. She just wonders why she's not like her sister, who seems to have life so much easier than her. And of course, that's not the truth, but that's how Pansy sees it.
And it's the opposite. You think about it like you would think that when she goes with her sister, you see a whole different lifestyle. The daughters are cheering and laughing, and she comes home and she can barely talk to her husband or son.
Mm.
There's a breaking point there, you know, and you wondered like, why is not, and she and her sister communicate, off and on, but why can't they have that communication to the point where like do you need help? What is wrong with you mentally that it's getting to that point? Obviously, that you can't have that communication at home. Did you
Yeah.
do any research into playing this character, people who may have been clinically or diagnosed with depression?
Well, I read a lot of stuff
Mm-hmm.
about a cluster of mental illnesses, but that was not our aim
Okay.
per se, and I'll go into that because if you imagine a woman of her age before all this talk about self-care, about mental health, etc., growing up with certain issues, not wanting to go outside, for example. The parents have divorced, it's just the mum at home. The mum needs a bit of a break. She's come home from work, she just wants quiet. And the daughter doesn't want to go outside. She said, just go on. Don't be silly. What's wrong with you? Go outside. Do you know what I mean? She's not going to take her to the doctor and say, oh, my daughter doesn't like going outside to play. Maybe now we would be like, maybe something's going on. But back then, she just learnt to cope, to get on with it, as she was told. So the research into mental illnesses was you had to just kind of put it on the back burner because we weren't playing that, because she wouldn't know that there was stuff wrong with her. She would just think that's the way I am. I know
Mm-hmm.
something's wrong, but I was just made like this. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it was really interesting to have the knowledge of those things, but also ignore them. Because then you start going, okay, if somebody hasn't been treated for this or that, what would that look like? How would it present itself if you are afraid of going outside and you're afraid of people? Well, then you attack first because you think you're going to be attacked. So that
Mm-hmm.
helped with the sort of, she's poised for a fight, isn't she? When,
Mm-hmm.
when we see it.
Hey, working with Mike again, and obviously this is a lead role to compared to what you did eons ago. What's that like? You've worked since then, obviously in different projects. I've seen you on films and I've seen you on TV shows. When you're back on a saddle where everything is hinders on your performance to carry the whole film, even though you have supporting actors. Uh, what's that feeling like to get back into that saddle, but comfortable knowing it's Mike and it's Dick and it's Michele?
You feel very well protected doing it, and you feel very safe to just mess up if you do, to do your best possible work if that's what can come from that, and you just feel free. But you also have a lot of agency in it because you've created this character with him.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that you've all given birth to. You've created this relationship with Michele, their history, their background, and the way in which Mike works. You don't know what the film is. You only know the scenes that you're in. You don't know whether Chantel's character features more because they've got more scenes, or whether Curtly's character features more. Obviously, I had an idea because I don't think he'd fly me all the way over to England to work for 5 months and it not be something substantial. But you kind of still are like,
Mm-hmm.
how much does she really feature? It's then when you see it for the first time, you go, wow, it really is a study of this woman.
Mm-hmm. Let
Yeah.
me ask. Yeah, I wanted to ask. As one of the earliest Black British people to get an Oscar nominations, and although you've done work, Without a Trace and Takers and stuff like that, how did the industry treat you after your nomination, before you moved to LA and got other work? Were you getting all of a sudden attention and more opportunities, or because we're always wondering, like, oh, listen, she was one of the earliest. When you look at it on Wikipedia, as like people like to say, you got that visibility now.
Mm.
Did people come? Were you getting scripts, or did you audition a lot more?
No, no, I didn't. I got quite. Fortunately, I got interest from the United States, which is in part why I moved, because I just kept coming over to do little bits and pieces in things that I wasn't getting in England.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
You know, and then with this run right here, so what's your takeaway after completing this project, and work with Mike Leigh again? That, granted, at this point, I always say actors can never stop learning. Is there anything you learned skill set wise as an actress moving forward to whatever project you may do next?
Oh my gosh. I think you always learn. It's always about learning. I think what I learned with Mike is to really trust even more the instinct, the instinctual part
Mhm.
of creativity when you're working, and to sort of let it kind of, because what we do is we discover the story as we're going on. We discover the sorry, I've just received something on my screen. We discover, who they are. And quite often you get a script and you plan everything, you do your research. Well, I do plan everything, do my research, and I have it down. And it's just a reminder to just, at that, once you've done that, to just go in and allow yourself to be changed by any of the things that come at you.
Mhm. Marianne, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. Obviously, a lot of people are now, you've been reborn for some people because, like, I remember her, was it without a trace? And then goes, that's Naomi from Takers. That's right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's an audience from different areas, that they're,
Yes.
so it's good that, you're being seen again,
Mm,
and that hopefully the dance is not over yet. We get to see more
yeah.
of you. And I'm
I
sure we'll
hope so.
down more road. And I know Mel, and hopefully we'll see you on Boxing Day too.
Oh, yes.
So let's see where it goes. We want to see that character again, and I'm
Yeah.
sure y'all see you down the road. So wherever you're at, take care, be warm, stay safe.
Thank you, Wilson. Thank you.